today. For your information, today's workshop or webinar is brought to you by the Malaysian Corpus Research Network in collaboration with Digital Humanities Research Group of Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Now, please remind you, if you have all of you are excited to listen to the workshop today, I am. Please, I would like to remind you that if you have any questions, you can always write down your questions in the chat box. You can also ask your questions after the session has ended. Okay, we will also share with you the link of the certificate and also the link to our YouTube channel, WhatsApp group during the workshop. So please stay tuned. And I would like to welcome, of course, our speaker for today, Dr. Azhar Jaludin from the Center for Research in Language and Linguistics, Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Dr. Azhar, Dr. AJ, really honored to have you here today with us. And before we begin, please allow me to read you the background of our speaker, Dr. AJ.
Okay.
Dr. Azhar Jaludin, or better known as Dr. AJ, if you don't mind for me to call you Dr. AJ here.
Okay.
Is a senior lecturer at the Center for Research in Language and Linguistics, Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities, Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. I would say that he has an impressive background. Okay, to begin with, he graduated in physics from Lakehead University, Canada. He completed his Master of Sciences in Electrical, Electronic and System Engineering from the Faculty of Engineering and Built Environment, Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Then he obtained his PhD in linguistics from the Center for Research in Language and Linguistics, Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities, Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. His main research works include corpus linguistics, where he specializes in web data mining for linguistic research, computational linguistics to developing linguistics tools for Bahasa Melayu, and psycholinguistic study, especially in the area of language impairments such as dyslexia and autism. So we are honored, we're lucky to have you here today. And without further ado, I think let us please welcome our speaker, Dr. AJ from Center for Research in Language and Linguistics, UKM, who will be giving a workshop on data mining and corpus compilation. Dr. AJ?
All right, thank you, Puan Anis. Okay, now actually there will be one important announcement which Puan Anis will be making towards the end of webinar today. So stay put to listen to that announcement. Okay, now before that I want to say salam to Prof. Imran. Okay, how are you, Prof?
Waalaikumsalam. I'm looking forward to your talk on data mining. Yep.
Okay, all right. Okay, actually, I was talking to Anis a couple of days ago, and we were come to thinking that this is, a holiday is coming in, and it's going to be a lengthy one. So we thought that there might not be many people coming to this particular talk, So I was telling Anis that this talk will be short, meaning that it won't take 2 hours, one and a half hours, just like that. And I changed a bit the content of the presentations. So I'd like to apologize if the synopsis of the talk is more on the utilizations of apps or third-party package in what we call it harvesting the data from the net. Okay, I put that particular exercise to our second talk, which will happen sometimes. What month is that, Anis? Remember, towards the end of the year, right? Okay, so I what we call it, deferred it to that point. For today, my focus will be still on data mining. Okay, there'll be two things: data mining and text mining. So it's more of what we call a general overview of the two, and it is important for us to understand the tool, because when we utilize or when we use the tools to collect the data from the net, then we know what's going on. Okay, we are not using the tools blindly, because now we know why we need to do certain things before we are able to harvest those data from the net. Okay, now let me share my notes here. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So this is our main focus today, data mining. First, I thought I'd like to include web scraping today. Then I thought it would take much time. Then I just focus on data mining and text mining. General introduction to the two here. This is a more of sharing, information rather than teaching and learning. Okay, sharing. So if any one of the audience here have an idea or and like to share his idea pertaining to the topic here, just jump in, no problem there. Okay, all right. So we share our information together. All right. Okay. Now, before we go deeper into today's topic, let's just look at this particular statement. Okay, from Linguistic Society, which say that linguistics has been the forefront of driving technological change. More or less like saying that we are the cause of that technological change. Okay, and those changes come in the form of speech recognitions, speech synthesis, machine understanding, and automatic translations. Okay, so that's one part. Okay, and the second part here. Second part here is said here, the work of linguistics is continually affected by new technology. It's somehow rather telling us that technology and linguistics are mutually interacting. Okay, and given that, this is the reason why we come up with this talk. So which saying that the technology is changing very fast, okay? And then us, a linguist or language researcher, need to follow suit. We also need to be fast, okay? In modified on, I don't know what's the best word for that one, in making change in the way we are doing research, okay? To take the advantage of the tools that has been created by everybody out there, especially those from computer science. Okay, and it seems that they are really utilizing the language aspect to create a lot of their tools. Okay, and somehow or other we need to understand what they are doing and see whether what they are doing is suitable for our work. Okay. Like today, we're going to talk about data mining. It comes from their field. Okay, and then what we need to do now to see whether data mining, the concept and the method that they have built is suitable for our own research. Okay, so this is part and parcel of today's talk, right? So that's the thing. We cannot run away from technology, even though we still can do qualitative research and do it manually. Okay, it's good. Okay, but we are missing out the data. There is a lot of data out there that has been created by this technological advancement. Oh, sorry. Oh, there you go. All right. Okay, now questions. Why mine data? Okay, and the word mine there is interesting, right? So it just like showing to us that the goal that we want is a lot, and it is mixed with all the other what we call it material. Then we need to somehow or other sieve it through and take out the goal, right? So the reason why we want to mine the data is because of the growth of data itself, from terabyte to yottabytes. So it means it's large. Trust me, it's big. But in terms of data nowadays, it's getting bigger by the hour, right? So over here, like data collection and data availability, we have automated data collections tool, we have database system, we have the web. Now you got to remember the web is not the web that is not only the one that we see. There's also a web that we call deep web, or sometimes people call it dark web. Okay, now a lot of information is down there. Okay, it's very big. And another one is that the source of the data can come from business, which from the web, from e-commerce, from the transactions that people make. This goes to like Shopee, Lazada, things like that. Okay, and it created data, and of stocks market. And from the area of sciences, we have bioinformatics, scientific simulations, medical research, and so on and so forth. It's added to the data that we have. And of course, society and everyone else, especially those who are using the internet and the social media, and they created all the new data. Okay, but it said here, we do have a lot of data. We are data rich, but information's poor. Okay, so anybody would like to jump in try to what we call it, clarify this particular statement? We are data rich, but information's poor. Anybody? Nobody. What could this mean, right?
Right. Perhaps data in not anyway. Information is a subset of data, but not all data. No, not all data are information. Perhaps there are data that are, I'm not sure whether the right word is perhaps useless. All right.
Okay. All right. Okay. And he said here, what do those data mean, right? So what does, and then how to analyze the data. It seems like data is raw, we need to process it. Okay, so that's why we mine the data, and then we need to process it, and after the processing, then only we can make use the data up once it's become information, right? And of course, he said that data mining is an automated analysis of massive data sets. Okay, all right. Okay, now, so here's it. Data mining is knowledge discovery from data, right? It said here extractions of interesting, such as it is non-trivial, implicit, previously unknown, and potentially useful patterns or knowledge from huge amount of data. Okay, one example that we can give here is the sentiment analysis. Right, sentiment, it can mean that how the shopper give their testimony on certain items that they have bought, right? The sentiment, and then we can also know the emotions of people. What is their emotions like during MCO, for instance, and all this can be what we call it a sift from, for instance, the Twitter. Okay, the tweet they write down, and that data actually can be further processed for us to extract out the emotions of of the people at that time. How afraid they are of let's say the COVID-19 and so on and so forth. Okay, so we have those data. Tweet have a lot of data, and actually we were I was planning to use tweet and to harvest tweet data from the net and show to you this. Okay, but we just postpone it for the next time. Okay, so this is one way we can look at the data mining, meaning that what kind of knowledge that we can get from data from the perspective of linguistics, right? One is sentiment analysis, and one is emotions, and so on and so forth. Okay, and the other name that people use to call data mining is like knowledge discovery, and then sometimes they call it KDD, knowledge extractions, pattern analysis, data archaeology, data dredging, information harvesting, business intelligence. Okay, this is what data mining is. So yeah, so I think this is important for us to know. All right, so I'd like to share with you three largest database in the world. Okay, one is World Data Center for Climate Change, all right, and operated by the Max Planck Institute. These are the size, and then next one is the AT&T, and the last one is Google. Okay, these are all they call it database. They do not call it corpus. They call it database because it's the data is clean over there. Right. Okay, now why mine data from the scientific viewpoint is that data is collected and stored at enormous speed in gigabyte per hour. The data can come from the remote sensor on the satellite, telescope scanning the sky, the scientific simulations generating terabyte of data, and so on and so forth. Okay, so everyday data are generated and kept. Okay, and whatever it is, the fact is that only very little data will ever be looked at by human, and the rest of the data will go to waste. Okay, and we need some kind of knowledge discovery, okay, to make sense and use the data. Okay, so we got to have the techniques here, and in our case, ours is language, text. It could be spoken, it could be text, and so on and so forth, and we have that a lot now. So the question is, how do we make use of all those data? What can we get from the data? But the first question is how do we harvest first? So that's the questions. All right. So when it comes to business, this is what happened, right? So we do have the database, okay, and from the database, this is where data is, and we need to pre-process it. Okay, and in the second segment of this presentation, I will talk about data pre-processing, because it seems to me that many of our students and some of our colleagues, when they deal with corpus data, especially when they collect, let's say, newspaper text, they use it straight away. Okay, they don't do this data pre-processing, what we call it phase. They need to do this pre-processing, meaning that cleaning up the data before they process it further. Okay, and then here I will talk about this pre-processing and see whether you have did you do it before you do your corpus analysis, or you just process the data as is. Okay, meaning that you convert, let's say that from data from the web to text format, and then you straight away process it. Okay, and you use whatever analysis tools that you have, to answer your research questions. Okay. All right, so this is what knowledge discoveries process is all about, the KDD. It begins from from database, meaning that the data are here, and we cleaning and integrations. This is the pre-processing bits, and then the clean data we kept in one warehouse. They call in this particular what we call it segment, they call it warehouse, and then we select and we transform the data, and we do this in this particular phase, which is data mining. Okay, so data mining is not scraping. Okay, data scraping is different from data mining, right? So remember that. And then we will come up with some sort of pattern from the data, and we evaluate the pattern and see whether our research question can be answered from the pattern. Okay, voila, we got knowledge over here, right? Raw data here, and that we got knowledge, and it goes through several phases, okay, before we get the knowledge here. The knowledge here means that it answers our research question. Okay, now there are several processes here. Okay, and if you look at this, actually these steps is important in corpus linguistics. Okay, all right, now learning the applications domain, meaning that relevant prior knowledge and goal of applications, meaning that how we want to use our data, for what purposes data is for. It's over here. And then we identify the target data set, meaning that what corpus, in our case, what corpus are we going to use to answer our research questions. And these are the processing that the data need to go through before we are able to extract the information. Okay, the first one is like, first is data cleaning. Here we remove the noise and inconsistent data. The next one, data integrations, multiple data sources may be combined. We have data selections, we have data transformations, and up to this point, this is all this is under data pre-processing. Okay, so this is important, and then after we have pre-processed the data and then it's clean, then only we do the data mining. All right, data mining, we do the analysis on the database. Okay, and then hopefully we are able to accept some kind of data or some kind of pattern from the data. So this is very familiar when it comes to concordance, right? And then here we have, and then we start to evaluate, and voila, we got the knowledge. See, before we got the knowledge, we have to go through all these stages, right? And then we need to be able to explain, okay, to people how we clean our data. And the last one, visualizations of the result that we get. Okay, and then after we got all this, then only we can use the knowledge. Okay, so this is what data mining, and there are a lot of stages that one have to go through before they're able to transform the data that they have into the knowledge that are useful out there. Okay. Right. So this is of the potential applications. Okay, ours are down here. Okay, other applications, but the application that people are using data mining is this one. One is market analysis and management, marketing and so on and so forth. The next one, risk analysis and management, like forecasting, customer retentions, and then the last one is important, fraud detection. Okay, and detection of unusual pattern. So that's and some of our colleagues over here doing research on scam like Macau scam and so on and so forth, and they try to look at the pattern, okay, on how this scammer utilize their knowledge in scamming people. Okay, and this one is fall under our purview here. Other application like text mining, like news group, email, document, newspaper. Web mining, we extract the text from the web to do the research. And the next one, like stream data mining, bioinformatics, and biodata. So you can see that data mining is what we call it, is a core, what we call it, is in an important element that people need to be to understand and able to use before they are able to do all this. Okay, and it is the same for us, language researcher and linguist. We need to understand this, even though it's come from the area of computer science or computational aspects of language. Then we still need to understand it because we do process our data. Okay. Now, I just wonder how actually we process the data that we have before we answer our research questions. Okay, same thing here. Data mining is the process of discovering useful information, and those are the what we call it the stages that we need to be able to do. And data mining is has become a very important method now, because the data gap between human and the data is growing very large. Okay, and data is keep on growing. So we don't want to miss out on this one. So we need to have some sort of technique and method of utilizing all those data. Okay, so what is not data mining here? Look up phone number in phone directory is not data mining. Query a web search engine for information about Amazon is not data mining. Okay, but data mining is this one. This is the knowledge. Certain names are more prevalent in certain location, such as like O'Brien or Road. But in Malaysia, certain names such as Nick, Wan, and so on and so forth. Or if we have a Chinese friend, then their family name. So we perhaps through data mining, we will know that what family is dominant in what state in Malaysia. Like for instance, Wan. In which state in Malaysia that a lot of people with the name Wan reside. Okay, so we can do that here. And another one, discover group of similar document on the web. Right, so this is what I did. For instance, you want to look for newspaper document. Okay, and then we do understand that newspaper has certain what we call it uniqueness to it in terms of its genre. Thus, we can identify those by crawling the net. Okay. So data minings are this, okay, not this. Okay, and actually data mining make use of information which come from these three areas: statistics, machine learning, database system. Okay, I would say when we come to database here, actually we can look at this as the corpus from our side of the study. Okay, so when we look at all those three, let me go back here. All right, like this one, it seems like to do data mining is not a single person's job. Okay, we need to have a team then, somebody who an expert in statistics, somebody who know about machine learning, and somebody who know about database system. Okay, and having all those knowledge, then we can do our data mining quite effectively. Else we might miss some of the important information here. All right, so data mining, there are like two major categories. One is what we call predictive task. All right, like classifications, regressions, deviation detections. Predictive, this is where statistics comes in. The next one is descriptive task. We find human interpretable pattern that describe the data, and we do this association discovery, okay, to start categorizing the data that we have. And of course, that's the word clustering. All right, and by predictive data mining or supervised learning, it means here, given a collections of record, okay, we call this training set. And then this training set has a set of attributes. One of the attribute is what we call a class. And then we find or learn a model for the class attribute as a functions of the value of the other attributes. So no worries. This is just the step that learning process in the computer is going about and doing learning about the data there. And the goal here is to previously unseen record should be assigned to a class as accurately as possible. Okay, then this one really remind me when I doing my masters, we try to come up with a system that can what we call it recognize bahasa Melayu. Okay, and then we need to use this, okay, to assign the sound of bahasa Melayu into certain class, right? So there are an algorithm there. So it is happening over here. Okay, and yeah, so learning. So how does a machine learn? So there are three things, okay, which involve in learning. The first one is what we call memory, and then averaging and generalizations. So these are the three, what we call it, system that involve in learning, and the machine need to go through all these element. Okay, now let's look at an example of it. Okay, all right, and yeah, we took the example from this. Said, yeah, imagine that I'm trying to predict whether my neighbor is going to drive into work so I can ask for a ride. Okay. And then whether she drives into work seems to depend on following attributes of the day. Okay, the temperature, the expected precipitations, and day of the week. All right, and of course the fourth one, what she's wearing on that day. So we are looking at this particular attribute and look at how this would correlate with whether she's going to work or not. Okay, now memory. Right, remember we have three things: memory and the other two things. Okay, let's say that we observe our neighbor for 3 days. Okay, and that's on the day one, so the temperature 25 degree, precipitations none. Day Saturday, whether they're going shopping or not, what clothes she used, and yep, it's walk, right? No, she's not driving. The next one, temperature is -5, precipitations snow. Day Monday, shop, yes, going shopping, clothes casual, and she drive. Okay, and the third day, temperature 15, precipitation snow, and the day is Monday, and whether she's going to shopping or not, yes, she's going shopping, and she wears casual clothing, and she walks. Okay, now this is the information that we have. Okay, and next one. Now we find ourselves on a snowy -5 degree Monday when the neighbor is wearing casual clothes and going shopping. Now, do you think that she's going to drive? Over here, all right? So when you look at this, okay, and similar, right? Thus, the answer is she will drive. Okay, and so we learn, okay, and then this is, and then we remember this is what happened to that particular person, and this is what she do, and this is what happens on her surrounding. Does she walk or she drive? So the two choices that she has. Okay, now usually we don't have that clean data. Mostly our data are noisy data, which means that the data is what we call it random. Right? Now things aren't always as easy as they were in the previous case. What if you get this set of noisy data? Right? These are the noisy data. Temperature 25, the same one. Precipitations none. Days same. Clothes also same. But sometimes she walk, sometimes she drive, and so on and so forth. Now on let's say that on this particular day, so how do we what we call it make a guess whether she walk or drive here? Okay. Now given the situations, what happened is that now we are asked to predict what's going to happen. Okay, and we have certainly seen this case before. But the problem is that it has had different answer. Our neighbor is not entirely reliable. Okay, so what should we do? And then we do this averaging. One strategy would be to predict the majority outcome, and the neighbor walked more times than she drove in this situation. So we might predict walk. Okay. And dealing with previously unseen cases, then will she walk or drive? Okay. And over here we say, we might possibly make any of the following argument. One, she going to walk because it's rainy today, and the only other time it's rain, she walk. And we can also make this kind of conclusion. She's going to drive because she has always driven on Monday. And okay, so these are the what we call the conclusion that we have from the data that we have, and this kind of knowledge is extracted from the process that we of data mining that we've gone through. So these are the information that we are able to extract out. Okay, so what we have done so far is showing to you that the process that the data mining method help us in generating the information from the data that we have. Okay, and these are also the way that computer would learn in making sense of the data they are being given. All right. Okay, and then all right. So that's the definitions and some descriptions of what data mining is. Okay, that's the overall picture of data mining. So the next one here, we'll be looking at text mining. All right, we provide this particular section is to see the relevance between our work as language researcher to data mining. All right, so given the data that for language research now is very big and accessible, you know, and it's the cost is what we call it very low a bit, so that we need to properly extracting the data, and this come under text mining. Okay, and actually I adapt this particular slide from Mr. Sakti from Linguistic University of Kerala. Okay, now it said here text mining is the broad view of describe a range of technology for analyzing and processing semi-structured and unstructured text data. Okay, this is what happened when we extracting data from the internet. Okay, their structure, it's haphazard. And the next one, to make it into simple word, text mining is the process of extracting desired information or pattern from the huge volume of unstructured text of different sources. It described the internet there. And then, as we all know, the effort in all sector of life, such as government, business, industry, and other, is store data in e-format. Okay, electronic form now. And therefore, to recover the desired informations and pattern from huge volume of data, and will be a great challenge for us. Okay, and I remember some of our, I can say our students, they need data from the tweet, okay, or from Twitter, but they don't have the skill on extracting the data. Okay, so what they do is that they have to find a consultant who are specialized in tweet and ask them to download all those data. But the question is that whether the data that been downloaded by this consultant is the data that they want. All right, so which means that we need to understand the nature of our data, and then we convey those informations to the consultant, and he will, hopefully will give us the data that we want. But there's still risk that the data that we given to us is, still need to be clean, right? And then it is in this context. Text mining has become an exciting research field as it tries to discover valuable information from unstructured text, okay, such as tweet, Facebook, and other blog on the net, okay. And then he said here, text mining is nothing but extracting pattern from number of unstructured text document. All right, and we call this again knowledge discovery from text. All right, so these are the things that I hope you can see this in our own corpus research, how this is actually happening to our research there. Okay, you said here text mining is a multidisciplinary field concerning retrieval of informations, analysis of text, extractions of informations, categorization, clustering, visualization, mining of data, etc., etc. But now we also have another research area we call topic, identifying topic or themes from the data that we have. For instance, some of us are doing research on climate change. The data come from the newspaper. We want to know our newspaper, what issues or what topic of climate change do they serve to the public? All right, like do they tell us everything about climate change, or they only focus only on certain topic only? Okay, so this is what topic, we call it topic modeling. Okay, topic modeling, and it's done automatically. You can do it, what we call it qualitative also, but it takes a lot of time to actually, what we call it, identify the themes. Okay, need of text mining here. And you said here most texts are available in unstructured. It is difficult for the user to manipulate unclear data. Here, text mining become most useful, right? And the process of text mining help to recover the high quality information from different sources. And the relevance of text mining can be understood by anyone who is part of this digital world. It's referred to as. Okay, and here, level of text processing here. Okay, and any discussion on text mining must have mention regarding text processing. And we go down here, before moving to the step involving in text mining, let's have a glance at the level of text processing. Okay, we understand this one. Like we look at language from the word level, the word property, stop words, stemming, frequent engrams, word net, sentence level, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we need to know which one that actually we are looking at when we analyze the data that we have. So, but these are the level of text that we can process. Okay, step involved in processing in text, like this one. We will talk about this. The step most commonly involved in the process of pre-processing in text mining. These are the pre-processing. Do share with me whether when you are doing your corpus research, you do this. Okay, you're going through this process before you actually analyze the data that we have or that you have. First, collections of document, of course, corpus constructions. You do that, right? So whatever you have, and then from whatever format you have, you put it in the text format, okay, and so on and so forth. And after that, you do tokenizations, okay. I'll describe what tokenizations after this. And after the process of tokenizations, you do the stop word removal. Okay, for that you do your stemming, and after you've done your stemming, only then you do your text mining techniques. You analyze your data after you have gone through these three pre-processing: tokenization, stop word removal, and stemming. Okay, stemming is sometimes people call it lemmatizing. Okay, right now collections of document or corpus. The first step involved is the collections of document. That's the creation of corpus, meaning that we are harvesting all the data that we have from from the source, And in our case, let's say that we are harvesting the data from the internet or from the web. Okay. And then corpus is a collection of language data in machine readable form, or what we call it electronic form, and usually in the form of text corpus or written corpus, right? But we know that we do have corpus, spoken corpus, and semiotic. And here the collected document can be structured or unstructured. Now for each field, we can construct its own corpus. For instance, like this one is specialized corpus, educational corpus, medical corpus, and so forth. This one is corpus. We are familiar with this one. And after we have our corpus, okay, we do this one. It seems like you need to have your raw corpus first, okay, before you further analyze that corpus. It said here you need to do this. And then I need to know whether tokenization, is it a must for us to do tokenizations before we process it further? Let's look at tokenization first. Now, this process is an important one and fundamental step, okay? Because the major goal of tokenization is to convert the stream of characters, okay, into a stream of processing unit called token. A token is just like word, but we define it from the perspective of machine. Some of the machines say that a space and then followed by character, followed by space, then that sandwich of spaces in the middle there is what we call a token. Doesn't really matter what it is. So that's some definitions of token from any corpus analysis tool that you're using, either NCON or Wordsmith, right? Okay, and then this one, it segments the whole text into word by removing blanks, spaces, comma, etc. Okay, and this is the example. For instance, this is the sentence. All right. So this sentence goes through tokenizations, and then we start to individualize the word here. Then we have it as one item, not as one item, cool as one item, and so on and so forth. These are what we call as token. All right. So this is a simple one because sometimes people say that what we call it, the comma, the full stop, and things like that also can be considered as token. All right, so they don't throw it away; it's still there. Okay, if you look at the corpus that has gone through this process, you can see that the word with relation to another word, there's one particular space, all right, between those words. That word has been tokenized, right? Okay, the next one is stop word removal. Okay, here stop word removal involve the process of removing the special character such as punctuations, numerals, and others such as back. If the data is accessed from the web, then we remove the HTML, XML tag from the web pages and just get the text. And then moreover, the frequently repeated word in a text also come under the task of stop word removal. Then the process of removing of stop words such as and the, and so on and so forth. So the definitions of stop word is different from one study. Just remove the function word. Okay, they only want to work with content word. So it will make the processing faster. Okay, and then the value of type token, that one will somehow or other describe the density of the word that you have in your corpus. Okay, so this is stop word removal example. For instance, samples with stop word. Stop word is like and for, and then we throw and throw away, then we are left with this. Okay, we throw away the function word. We only have the what we call lexical words here. And can listening be exhausting? Then we have listening, exhausting. We throw away the punctuation. We throw away the function word, and we have only the content word. Same here. I like reading, so I read. Like reading, read. Okay, so we are left with this, and we only process these words in our research. Okay. Yeah, so given that the tokenizations and the stop word removal, I wonder how many of us doing that? Okay, this is another example of stop word removal. The original text like this one. Then after the removal, we are left with this, right? And we have information system Asia web provide research related commercial and so on and so forth. And we process this, what we call it, text rather than processing this text. Okay. All right. And wait up. And I will show here. Okay. Now I'm looking at your the audience here. So you guys, when you do your corpus research, how many of you like do the two processes? You do the tokenization and also stop word removal, or you just use up the text that you have converted from the Word document into the text file without doing any tokenization or stop word removal? Anybody would like to share the stages that you do in your research? Is Aisha here? Okay. Okay, Habibah, how did you do? What kind of process do you, what we call it, you do in your data that you have before you actually analyze it?
Okay, Dr. AJ,
Yeah.
to answer your question, for tokenization, I think that one is an automatic process. I'm not so sure, but from what I know, is it the same like when Wordsmith calculated the token type ratio? Is that considered tokenization? If yes, then I do look at tokenization, especially to look at the type token ratio. However, I've used a stop word list before for my corpus analysis of sports news discourse. Now, however, I stopped using it. I don't know why, but probably it's because I have stopped using for example, before I used to put in emotion words or as something that I want to look at. So things that are not emotion words things that are not emotion words, I will take it out, or I use lemmatization and also stop words both. However, now I don't. I think I have looked past that. I haven't used stop word list anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. But I don't
Now, do you
want
think
to know.
that kind of like make your result different from if you do let's say that tokenization, let's say stop word removal,
Mm-hmm.
and one without stop word removal, would you get the same result both?
Actually, it's a bit different if you ask me. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Of course, the list of words that will come out in for example, the keywords list or the word list itself will be reduced if I
Okay.
use the stop word list. When I process it or upload the stop word list in the Wordsmith software. Yeah,
I
I do
see.
see that
Okay.
change when I did my analysis on sports news discourse.
I
Yeah.
see. Is that a
However,
good
maybe
change or not?
it's a good change, but I do think that using stop word list, it takes a lot of time. And I used an existing one, I guess, a stop word list that has is already existed. So I just download
I
it
see.
at that time. So for right now, I use a lot of um, Malay data instead of English
Yeah.
data.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
obviously there won't be any stop lists existing around as far as I know. So that's why I think that's why I've stopped using the list because there's nothing available that I can use.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Actually, for
yeah.
Bahasa, we do have some that
Oh,
has been created by Professor Tengku, I think.
please do
We
share
do
that
have that
Tracy.
list. Okay, all right. So, how about the rest of you? Do you go through the two processes when you deal with your corpus work, corpus study, or you don't? You just use your you just process the data, use that whatever tools that you have, without going through the process of tokenizing and also stop word removal. Okay. Okay, it seems like I think I will include this in our next presentation on how to do this actually, so that we do have some experience in doing this and see whether, like what I asked Habibah, Dr. Habibah just now, whether by removing the stop word would give us a better results or not. Okay, and see whether what influence stop word have in the processing of our data. Okay, right. So this is what people do in computer science. They throw away all these words. To them, it is not important at all. Okay, all right. Okay, I think yeah. Let me share this one. Slideshow from current. And, all right. Okay. All right. So this is what two step that usually people do before they process their text. Stop word removal and also tokenization. Okay. All right. This stemming is like what we call
Lemmatization.
lemmatizing. Stemming can refer to process of identifying root of a certain word and so on and so forth. And we can do this automatically with English, but for Bahasa, I don't think we have that program to do this automatically. All right, and then after we have done that, the data is clean. Then only we start analyzing the data that we have using all these corpus techniques that we have, such as type token and frequency words and so on and so forth. From using this one to get our result. Okay. Okay, and say here there are like the 7 practice area of text mining. Like one, search and information retrieval. Okay, construct our corpus number 1 here, and document clustering here, grouping and categorizing terms, paragraph, and document using data mining clustering method. Document classifications, and then we have web mining, and yeah, in our next meeting, inshallah, our group, myself, Anis, and Prof, will demonstrate on how to do this, and information extraction and so on and so forth. We try to show what we call it, how this can be done. All right. Okay, and this is the conclusions of today's talk. Like to sum up, text mining is the need of modern days. It is a key concern of the 20th century language technology. The area of text mining is still striving toward perfections. Okay, it's still new. There are a lot of work that to be done and making this perfect. Of course, perfection is a long way, especially in if the data in Bahasa Melayu. Okay, we need to work on this one. The next one, text mining is a young multidisciplinary field which draw on information retrieval and data mining, machine learning, statistic, and computational linguistics. And the last one, it is high time to go on serious discussions and research in the area of text mining. Okay, so this is what our group here in UKM try to foster, especially in Malaysians corpus research group here. So I think we need to go, push ourselves to go to this particular research area. Okay, it's due to the data. The data is very big in the net. Okay, so having this, then we can do a lot more research in language. Okay, so I just hope that our group, this Malaysian Corpus Research Group here, will collaborate with one another and work towards this. Okay, I'm done here. So you have any question that are not question, but things to discuss among ourselves here that you may. And before that, I think I like to give the screen back to Anis, because I think she has an important announcement to make.
Okay, thank you, Dr. AJ. Maybe first we should conclude the session first with answering the questions from the participants of the workshop. So we have some questions here. The first question is from Tengku Azizin, Mr. Tengku Azizin. She asked you whether can the machine mine can the tool that we use mine Chinese characters?
Oh yes, they are what we call it packaged out there. I think it's quite advanced now, right? They can do that. Koreans, Japanese, Chinese character can be harvested from the net. Yeah, there are packages that can do that. In fact, if you are familiar with Python, and Python does have this library that able to extract this character actually from the net.
Okay, I hope that answers Ms. Tengku Azizin's question. So now we move on to another question from Dr. Usmadi. He asked, well, is NLP a text mining or data mining?
Okay, actually NLP is neither. It's a natural language processing. Is process the whole thing, well, it can fall under what we call it, I would say data mining. It can fall under that one. Yes, it can fall under data mining, because it is under that wait up. Okay, the processing of language. Yes. Okay, so I think it can fall under text. Yes, text. Sorry, text mining, because we are processing text. Yeah. Sorry.
More to text data, because natural language data, processing involves data
so we are processing text mining.
More to text.
Yes.
All right. I think we have another question. What is the difference between text mining and data mining?
Okay, when it comes to data, all kind of data. Sometimes data can be in the form of text. It can be in terms of numbers. It can be in terms of visuals. It can be of different what we call it aspect. And when we process that kind of data, then it falls under data mining. But when we process only text, then we go with what we call it text mining. And my PhD is more on text mining. I go to the net and I harvested all the text that are available on the net and get it into my corpus. Yeah.
All right. Do we have any more questions from the participants? One or two more questions? You can unmute your microphone or you can type in the chat box.
Okay. How about sharing some of your work and see how actually you're doing, this kind of processing? What process do you actually do with the data that you have? I'm interested to know that.
So from the participants, okay, maybe you can share how you actually process your data.
Yeah.
Maybe we understand that some of you here are still beginner in corpus linguistics, but you can also share what do you expect from corpus linguistics? What do you think you can actually do with your data?
Good afternoon. Can I share?
Yes.
Right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So my name is Alex. So I think, well, I can be considered a newbie to corpus linguistics because currently I'm still a PhD student.
Mm.
So previously, the processes mentioned by Dr. Azhar, I actually don't do tokenization, and I
Right.
actually don't do stopgap removal because when I started learning a bit about corpus linguistics, I was taught to modify the text as little as possible to keep its authenticity. And uh, while I am interested in how the stopgap removal will affect the data, but Dr. AJ, would it be right for me to say that stopgap mining, the stopgap removal would be more effective based on the type of research and corpus we are building? Because I was thinking like it wouldn't be that beneficial if we did like stopgap removal for
Mm.
a corpus such as a learner corpus when we
Mhm.
are trying to show like authentic use of language and how we can show the students in the classroom how you can use language in X, Y, and Z form.
Yeah.
And if we were to remove like all the stopgap work
Mm.
and punctuations and all that,
Mm.
it might actually be very confusing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be
Yeah.
so?
Yeah. I agree. Now, this is also the case when it comes to keyword analysis. Okay, when we want to do the keyword analysis, and let's say that we extracted out all these stop word, and then it will somehow or other what we call make the results skewed a bit. Because when we do keyword analysis, we can have two results. One, the function word will be the keywords, right? And the next one, the content word will be the keywords. That the result, and the content word will tell us the keyness of our corpus, right? And the function word will tell us the style of our corpus. Now, if we throw away all these stop word, which means that we throw away all the function word, then we might not be able to what we call it know the style of the corpus that we have. Just like what you say just now, Mr. Alex, that if you want to throw away all these function and so on and so forth, then when we analyze learner corpus, we might not be able to what we call it ascertain the error, right, that they have committed when it comes to grammar and so forth. So which means that stop word, the usage of stop words depend on our research questions then. So that's one. Yeah, you're right there, Alex. Yeah. So what is your PhD is all about, Alex?
My PhD, I'm doing semantic prosody analysis.
Semantic prosody. Any particular word you are looking at?
Currently, I'm looking at COVID-19 in English news reports.
Okay. All right. So, right. You, Prof. Anything to share, Prof. Imran? This is our what we call it our Shifu.
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Azhar. Very interesting session on. I think it's very important distinction that we're making here, and of course, I agree with your observation just now. If you are studying, for example, sentiment or topic modeling from massive terabytes of newspaper text or text out there, unstructured, then you will definitely need to process and clean it to reduce the noise. And some of this noise are definitely in the function words. It can sort of create a lot of havoc. So I agree. But it depends on the research question, as Alex says. But if you're looking at grammatical structure, for example, even if it's looking for changes within the use of the future tense marker, whether preferential has changed over a particular situation. Maybe we use grammatical structures differently at night and in the morning. We don't know.
Yeah.
But now with big data, I'm sure we can actually text mine this kind of information. So if you want to surely we cannot remove those words or cannot use the stop gaps. So yeah, you're right. In some ways, it depends on the question. But a lot of very interesting linguistic analysis has been going on based on your description of data mining and text mining. One of them, of course, is the London, what is the London train station subway? The subway research, about what language is used where. What language is used where, what kind of language, whether it's Punjabi or Arabic or Mandarin or Indonesian, Malay or whatever. So they are able to actually have that kind of massive data mining and make very, very good information or prediction so that they are able to place officers of the subway, London subway, according to their ability to speak a particular language. So they know, of course, demographic can also show it, but demographics based on residential address is not sufficient. But this is how some of the language analysis has been going on, and it's very good. You mentioned the one that you are doing with your group of researcher on the discourse of climate change. I think the topic modeling allows us to see what are we missing, what are we not talking about. Which is also very important. Sometimes what we don't talk about is also an indication. But these are more for the corpus-based cultural or corpus-based trying to gain knowledge rather than the corpus-based linguistic trying to analyze structure. I suppose. But thank you, Dr. Azhar, for sharing.
Okay. So, Mr. Rosmadi, you like to share with us, because we know that you have under your what we call purview of the largest corpus of Bahasa Melayu.
Itulah masalah Dr. Azhar. We have data. The problem is in Malay, because all the tokenization, all the stemming and semantic tagging, all that one, we are not yet tag our corpus.
Yeah.
We don't have that that stage yet, so it is not very easy to do all these
The processes, tokenization and things like that.
Text recognition and topic summarization. All that one must be the first step we have to do is we have to clean our data. Kita kena sediakan give our data to Malay corpus too, with all the taggings and that.
Yeah, betul.
Maybe your team can help us.
InsyaAllah, hai Prof, kan?
InsyaAllah. I mean, kita kena kerja kita perlukan ramai lah kan.
Nanti takut dia nak pergi parit, kita nak ke parit, dia pergi parit lain nanti.
Betul. Yang tadi Dr. Azhar ada sebut tentang stammer yang Malay stammer yang mungkin kalau di Unimas, di USM mungkin dah ada, tapi dia tak lengkap. Maksudnya dia masih lagi apa orang kata Dr. Azhar, dia macam
under construction lagi lah tu.
Ya, masih lagi tak boleh buat sepenuhnya. So dia punya accuracy and the gold standard Dr. Azhar. Gold standard tu tak capai lah.
Betul. Itulah dia. So
itu menarik. Banyak yang perlu dibuat lagi.
Yes, that we if you want to do sentiment analysis kan. So we don't have the bank data yang what the word we classified this, what kind of sentiment or with go with this word, and then kalau kita kena ada bank, I pernah come across with one data in US, I think. dia benda tu dah ada kan, dia dah classify, dia dah do the classification of this word is consider what kind of
the emotions
emotion in that word. Itu sangat penting rasanya Prof. Datuk ya, Datuk.
Ya, saya setuju. Dan memang usaha-usaha telah mula lah kan ya, Dr. Azhar, dan kumpulan-kumpulan yang computer science. So you're right, we need to improve. Even yang analysis, sentiment analysis, the English one, when they use this particular set that they have, when they use different set, they produce different results.
Oh, okay.
Even topic modeling also, we find that the tools that are available in topic modeling, baru-baru ni kita dapat daripada Digital Scholar Lab, dia ada topic modeling. When we input some text, dia punya topic modeling tu berbeza dengan teks dengan alat yang lain. So sebenarnya kita kena memahami dia punya tools itself.
Exactly.
The algorithm that they are using, the golongan kata, the categorization, itu semua yang kita mungkin perlu mendalami. Tapi selalu kalau yang available yang commercial punya software ni, kadang-kadang dia tak bagi kita buka dalam tu. Mungkin tak pandai lah, tapi saya tak boleh nak buka tu, nak tengok.
Industrial secret tu ya.
Macam sekarang hate speech is part of one of the hot topics yang kita sedang berlaku sekarang, hate speech kan. So kita nak analyse what kind of this disease, racist, or this is other kind of category of hate speech. Kita tak boleh nak classify, categorize this type of word is more on racist or say like something like that kan. Betul.
SKMM ada banyak, dia ada yang research, yang contract research untuk ahli bahasa kan, yang untuk akademik. Antara tu yang dia nak kaji itulah yang hate speech, cyberbullying, yang coaching tu dan sebagainya. So memang perlukan multidisciplinary approach lah. Tapi orang bahasa ni kena tampil ke depan juga, especially corpus and text mining experts lah. Ini yang mana orang-orang muda sekarang ni, saya lihat ramai orang muda ni.
Habibah semua tu, dosa muda people tu.
Anis, Muhammad Zakwan, Alex. These are the people who has to build the next, solve this problem. Dulu masa saya Dr. Prof. Zaharani, Prof. Idris, kita solve one problem gunakan kaedah corpus, which is tentang penghuraian tata bahasa. Tata bahasa dewan dan sebagainya kan, dia huraian tata bahasa. Tapi we have to move to the next level. Yang ini yang kita, I rasa it's a lot of, kalau kita survey the literature, memang Dr. Azhar nampak very encouraging. We are moving there lah. We are moving there. Okay. Cuma Dewan Bahasa belum gerak sangat. Dewan Bahasa masih banyak fikirkan tentang tata bahasa. Yalah, your untuk push dia to the next, mungkin itu peranan MIMOS, peranan sains, Ministry of Science, MOSTI daripada KPM.
So I think with that note, I think maybe Anis ada relevan dengan announcement yang Anis nak buat.
Oh, okay. So I'll be presenting the screen. Dah confused nak cakap bahasa Melayu ke cakap bahasa Inggeris sekarang?
Boleh je.
Okay, boleh je.
Okay, tak apa. So I'll just continue in English first. So I hope you can see my screen now. We are pleased to inform that the Center for Research in Language and Linguistics of Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia will be organizing 2022 Malaysian Research Symposium that's scheduled to be held on the 28th and 29th of September 2022. So we're now calling for abstract submissions, and you can refer to the poster for more information. And we also have our convener for 2022 MCRS here today, Prof. Dr. Imran. Maybe you would like to say anything on the symposium? I'll just zoom in a little bit.
Oh, thank you very much. Actually, I'm the convener together with Dr. Azhar, co-conveners for this particular edition ya. At the same time kita akan jemput jugalah Dewan Bahasa Pustaka untuk kerjasama Dr. Rosmadi ya. Saya tahu di Dewan Bahasa memang banyak perkara yang perlu kita yang boleh membantulah penyelidik-penyelidik di luar sana. They are looking to the if you like directions from Dewan Bahasa as well. Dan juga sebenarnya simposium ni memang akan melibatkan semua MCRN lah. MCRN ni daripada Dr. Aisyah, daripada UiTM, Dr. Habibah daripada USIM. Dan saya rasa setiap universiti di Malaysia ya, IPTA ya, at least IPTA dan juga IPTS ada wakil dalam MCRN. Jadi kita anggarkan ini satu yang akan menarik lah, korpus linguistik ya. Kalau Dr. Azhar dia sebut penerokaan korpus linguistik untuk digital apa macam mana yang yang bahasa Melayu dia lain sikit kan?
Data science.
Apa tajuk
lupa dah dekat ni saya tu.
Tema dia sedikit berbeza untuk bahasa Inggeris kerana untuk bahasa Inggeris kerana dia bolehlah for digital humanities ni boleh dipakai, tapi kalau bahasa Melayu ni penerokaan linguistik korpus untuk apa data science sikit lah. Okay, sorry, back to you Anis. Saya kalau diberikan suruh bercakap panjang ni.
Okay, so basically we hope that you will submit your abstract. If you're interested to participate, we're also looking forward for Dr. Rosmadi to join us as well for collaboration. And then is that all for the symposium? Okay, so I will also share this poster in WhatsApp group. If you haven't joined our WhatsApp group, MCRN's WhatsApp group, you can click the link there so you can get more recent updates. Okay, other than that, I would also like to thank you, Dr. Aisha. I would also like to inform on our May webinar. Our webinar is still going on. Where is the date? Okay, it's here. Is this one? So we're going to have from Shin Ishikawa from Kobe University, and we'll have Dr. Roslina Abdul Aziz. Oh, you can't see it. Wait. I will need to present again. Sorry. And a window. Okay, so we have, I don't know. So we have a May webinar. I hope you can see my screen. Professor Shin Ishikawa from Kobe University. Okay, for May webinar, we also have in line Mike Scott in June, I think, and someone from Sengish for Gale, from Gale as well. So stay tuned and join our WhatsApp group so that you can get more updates. Okay, and I think that's it. I would like to thank our speaker, Dr. Azhar Jaludin. Thank you very much for the engaging workshop, and thank you very much, Prof. Dr.